It's January 18th, and I'm a little behind the curve when it comes to kicking off the DIY season, but as you can see, I did get some new toys, including some of these washi stickers. I thought they were all washi stickers. Turns out they're partially washi and partially paper ephemera. And if you just heard something going on in the background, that is my spam call notifier. Sorry if it came through. This is what the washi and ephemera pack look like. I also picked up some basic 12 by 12 double-sided scrapbook sheets, and usually what I do is I make a reference copy on 8.5 by 11 paper so that I can, if I happen to use the scrapbook sheet for something, I can have a reference. But as you can see, my printer is acting up, having not been used now for 7 months. You can also see that I indulged myself in some embossing ink and a couple of colors: black, clear, pearl white, and opaque white, which looks like snow. And I made myself a little reference card. All those embossed inks are over walnut stain blending ink. I like vintage photo, but it's a little too red for me, so I thought I'd try walnut stain this year. While I was waiting for my supplies to get here, one of the things I wanted to try was cereal bags in various applications, and I found out very quickly that if you just heat it over a single sheet of paper, this happens to be a photocopy of one of my master sheets, it doesn't do well. It doesn't adhere at all and becomes a lumpy mess. Plastic to paper is not going to adhere well anyway, so you can't do a single sheet. This is the back of that double-sided print, and you can see how lumpy it is. So I did try it again, and you'll see parts of that later on. So with all that new ephemera and some of the other ephemera that I made holders for last year, I'm starting to need something that's a little more accessible, and this is a new ephemera holder. I got out some graham cracker boxes because I was determined to bust up my stash, and I cut off all the folded ends, taped them together with a little bit of gap. I just use regular masking tape. It holds well, it's flexible. I then made sure that all of my outside paper would line up. I only split my corners. I did not cut the diagonal because I wanted to make sure that the outside paper wrapped around, and so I cut my dog ears after I made sure that I had enough paper to wrap around, because really this paper was not big enough for the outside of the box, even though the box is smaller than 8.5 by 11 paper. I chose a 2-inch wide brush because I was using PVA and I didn't want the cardboard to saturate too much. And as you would expect, when you put wet glue on cardboard that's sized only on one side, it bowed, but I didn't worry about it because what I did was just weight it down with a book for maybe an hour and a half. Then I fit the paper that I was going to use for the inside of this accordion fold, and I split it in the middle where you see that double line of washi tape. Everywhere there was a joint, I covered it with washi tape. Unfortunately, my washi tape is not very wide, and so there were a couple of spots where I had to glue it down. But I glue washi tape anyway because the adhesive is not very strong. Then I took a very almost dry sponge and wiped down the whole book very lightly to moisten it, put a piece of parchment paper over it, and put it back under the books, and you can see that it flattened right out. If you remember earlier, I said I revisited the cereal liner project. This time I just took some scrap pieces of paper, stamped on them, and sandwiched them in between the cereal liner with the iron, and it worked fine. what I did was cut them into strips so that I had clear pockets and affixed them inside the accordion fold folio. Unfortunately, my Fabrifix glue did not hold very well, and I'm not sure that, cereal box liners are a good project at this point. Oftentimes I wonder when I see somebody do something and they do it pretty successfully and then I never see them use it again, I wonder why that is. And since on this channel, when we DIY things together, I tell you right away what worked and what didn't work, and if I'll ever use it again. I'm not sure I will use the cereal liner for anything else like this again. Now, you could say to me, well, you don't have to glue it, you can sew it. That's true, but I have an older gear-driven German sewing machine, and if something messes up with that sewing machine, I don't know anybody who can repair it anywhere near me. I would have to take it to Grand Rapids to have it repaired. So sewing this stuff, probably not. So the back of this accordion fold is, again, just 2 pieces of masterboard copy sheet, and I like the way it turned out. The outside is a little more busy than the inside. The inside I intentionally used neutrals. What I do with the outside as far as storage goes, I'll have to think about that and bring that to you some other time. The other project that I promised you is just basic collaging. A lot of us have these long strips, and what I did was take different scraps that I had and glued them down to these long strips to make either belly bands if they were long enough, or I can cut them up and make tags or bookmarks. That's all I have for you today. I'm sorry that there was only process shots and not actual video. I'm not really up to shooting video right now. It's a little too much for me, but we'll get back into the swing of things. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you real soon.